Put him down. Put him down. I'm not looking up.
3, 2,
welcome back to the Agony of Positivity podcast. I am one half of the show, Ross, on the other side of the world.
So,
Min Grundy. See, Solomon Grundy's relevant to DC.
it's true.
Well, he's relevant to the animated and comic book DC, but not
Yes.
Mr. Snyder's universe.
Yes.
Oh, man. So, obviously, we're going to be talking about the Snyder Cut. We're like a week behind on that. But
Probably a week, yeah.
I mean, it took me about that long to watch it from when I hit play. So,
Yes.
I assume everybody else is watching it at like plus 25% speed or something.
Yeah.
So before
we get into it.
Yep.
Oh, it's so good. No, I'm stealing your shtick here. So go ahead.
Yes. Now I was going to ask how your week was going.
My week, it's been all right. Nothing special, I guess. Just
Any good
work.
food? It's always always potentially a high point.
I don't think so. Nothing's really like, man, I gotta talk about this on the podcast. Well, now I did say, okay, so on Monday, we decided to do some yard work
I'm sorry.
outside. Yes. Well, I took a day off because my wife's on spring vacation and everything, because from her school and everything. So we were going outside, and we have no keys. I do have my phone, and as we're going outside, the safety bar falls down and locks us out of the house.
Like on the sliding patio door there?
Yes.
Did you see it
yeah.
falling as you were finishing the shut, or?
Yes. Because my wife was leaving. She's the one that was the last person out. And as she was going, I was like, oh, crap, we're going to get locked.
Yeah, and then
Yep. So we get locked out. I was like, well, we're going to have to hop the fence here and go in the garage. And, we hopped the fence. And sure enough, we deadbolted the garage door from the night before and have not went out it since. So we were locked out from there. So we had to call a locksmith.
you guys didn't have like any windows that were open or anything?
Nope. And we forgot to put a key out in the garage. It does have a key out there now.
Right.
Yeah, so we had to call a locksmith, and he gets out there and he's like, well, I can lock pick the bottom lock. He's like, ain't deadbolt here, can't be locked. I was like, well, great. What you gotta do? He's like, I gotta drill it out.
Oh man.
Yep. So he drills it out, and it worked out. He installed another lock for us, but that was our little adventure. It took like 3 hours to get in the house.
Well, I have been real fortunate that I have never got locked out like that. Now, when I was moving, so the house I'm in now, I had rented it at one point, and then heroin and disaster struck for the person who was a tenant. They had changed the locks, and basically we had no way to get in except on the second floor here, behind me. There's like this weird closet that has a window at the end, and that happened to still be open. So I was able to take a ladder and climb up. I was a much more nimble, smaller man, 14 years ago, and that was not a problem. But that would have been in the exact same spot as what you guys were in. Now, I probably would have just, as much damage as was done to the house, I probably would have just kicked the door down myself and replaced it, because I had to have work done to it anyway. But, yeah, that sucks.
Yeah, and that's what I told him. I was like, I'm trying to do less damage as possible. That's why we called you. He's like, oh, I understand. I get it.
Yeah. Like, I got this ramrod here that I could totally go through.
Yeah, but anyway, that was like 3 hours and $100 worth of Uncle Biden's money that he gave us. So
yeah, for not not stimulus related. Well, I mean, you stimulated the locksmith. So.
I stimulated and he was saying that because I was talking to him as he was doing it. He said COVID actually has hurt his business because
people aren't going out.
And he's like, no one calls locksmiths. He's like, and unfortunately, he's like, I prosper off your bad fortune.
Right.
I was like, I get it, I understand. You know?
Locksmith might actually be a fun job to some extent. Like you're helping people technically, but there's the skill to it.
Sure.
Well, my only news, which is good for the show, basically, is I have set days off now, which are partially on the weekend. So that should make life a lot easier where I'm not working 6 days and just falling asleep and making it very hard to record. So
we may actually get a new logo and our music up.
Yes, I had the music pulled up. I might actually edit new music with some stuff into this one. But as it is right now, it's set with the old. But if you hear different music at the beginning, it's because I actually felt alive enough to do stuff. So our own version of the Snyder Cut. Yes, it's going to be a 47-minute long intro. There's going to be it's going to be like overtime, where it still sucks. It's just longer, because that's what the Snyder Cut. I actually sent a message to, like, I had a supervisor that I would consider him a friend. Still kind of talk to him here and there, but he started a new job, and I was like, you should do me a favor, and when you have to tell your minions that they have mandatory overtime, you should tell them they're going to be doing the Snyder Cut of work, because it's just longer, but it still sucks.
Yes. There's some people that actually loved it, and I don't know why.
Here, I'm going to hit the I'll hit the bumper.
Dive
here.
into it.
We haven't. Here we go.
Something that could never ever possibly destroy us. Mr. Stay Puft.
You chose poorly. You have chosen wisely.
All right. So Snyder Cut, it got a whole bunch of hype, like, 6 months ago?
Oh, yeah.
To where I thought it was coming out then, initially.
Yep.
And then I was real confused. So, however long they've been working on it, for whatever reason, they decided that this movie didn't just kick DC Comics Justice League in the groin nearly enough. They needed another version of it to...
Well, and I'll just say this before, and I've probably said it before. The Snyder universe, I don't like. I don't like his characters. I don't like his I don't like his portrayal of Batman and Superman. It's terrible.
I mean, Batman's about the closest, because he wants to go dark, broody stuff, so that works okay for Batman. But
yeah,
in general,
but I don't like Batman. I don't like Batman to kill, because and this is and people, because people have argued with me on this. They're like, well, he would be like that. I say no, he wouldn't, because Joker would not be around. Why would Joker be? He would kill Joker right off the bat if Batman killed. I mean, so.
Yeah, well, and considering you're just jumping to it with Batman, like, I don't know, because, like, killing the parademons, like, that's fine, that's whatever. Those are basically, like, soulless monsters, kind of. Like, I mean, they even explain it, that, like, once the unity happens, like, people are left in a not alive but not dead state, and they don't really have a mind of their own. So, no, obviously Batman doesn't know that, but, like, interdimensional beings that can destroy your planet, sure. I'm okay with him going a little more gung-ho on that.
Yeah.
Versus Tim, the henchman who's in the warehouse.
Yeah.
So you say that, and it makes me laugh, because, like, at the beginning of the film, it's like, oh, based on DC characters. Like, there's a little thing at the bottom. I was like, it should say loosely based.
Yes.
Because there's, I don't know, like, Flash is okay, because he's still kind of lighthearted.
Sure.
I will say, so I'm going to say I had to look up a list to figure out the differences in the movie, because I was expecting there to be, like, just all kinds of differences. And to me, now it's been a while since I've seen the other, but things I knew is like Darkseid's in it.
Yeah.
The intro is different. The music is definitely different. I don't know if it's for the better or the worse.
Sure.
Obviously, some of the orders of the scenes and things like that are different. And then the fights are 100 hours longer.
Yes.
And other than that, I didn't feel like it was a different movie.
Like you said, it was still boring to me. I'm just like, okay, yeah. I mean, and they also, I mean, I don't know if you noticed this, like Aquaman is not as enjoyable. Me, they seem to tone him down some, where he was kind of like the gun ho, like, yeah, let's do this, and he's just more like,
yeah, standoffish.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Cyborg got a lot more time in the film for sure.
Sure, yeah.
So something that I've read a couple different things. Like, I was trying to figure out, like, what people thought of the movie and things like that. And one of the things is like, oh, well, they removed a lot of the humor. And, like, one of the things people were talking about was like, oh, yeah, they got rid of Cyborg saying booyah. It's like, I noticed that, but that's, like, one of Cyborg's things.
Yeah.
Like, it's okay. Hold on one second. My dogs have decided to be noisy. It's okay to, like, change up the character some, but, like, I don't know. Every incarnation of Cyborg I've seen will say booyah.
Yeah.
So I don't know why that was a, like, oh, yeah, they got rid of that. Like, I don't know. And, like, that was only a couple sources. I'm sure there's probably more people that are closer to, like, feels like that is one of the things that you could have left, and it wouldn't have mattered. Like, I'm not expecting him to be like Teen Titans Go Cyborg, which would be hilarious though for this movie to have that, like, mentality. Cyborg would be pretty interesting, but so,
and I'm just amazed that Josh Whedon. I'm not a fan of Josh Whedon's stuff either, because I don't really like what he did with the Marvel universe that much.
Yeah,
I mean, I would have went a different way with it than when he did it, but I mean, it made sense. It had an ending. Okay.
Well, he was involved throughout, so at least it was all the same.
Sure, but I'm amazed that Josh Whedon was able to get it somewhat of a movie out with Snyder's stuff. Maybe I'm just not a fan of Zack Snyder. I don't know. I just don't like his whole. I don't know.
So I guess starting from the beginning part is like so they make it clear that this is shortly after Superman died, whereas Josh Whedon's it seemed like they wanted an unknown amount of time but a while to have passed.
Yeah.
Now they added in Superman's death cry, I guess. Woke up the mother boxes.
Yep.
The thing I didn't care for is the animation of the sound waves. And the where it made it seem like he was like, ah. Like he screamed multiple times.
Yeah.
Like, I understand how, like, sound breaks up and stuff like that. But just something about, like, the way they animated it.
Like he was a siren.
Yeah, like, I don't know why, but that super bothered me.
So where now that you say that, that's kind of weird, yeah. I didn't notice it when I was watching it, but yes, that is kind of weird.
That's all I could do. I was like, how are there so many individual rings that aren't just like... Because there was clearly separation between them. It didn't look like it was just like, you know, him screaming, but he like gargling on blood or something from where he was stabbed by Doomsday, and the stream still come. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Why didn't Batman say, "Clark, why are you sounding like a siren for? What's going on here?"
Like, what are you doing? But yeah, so that explained.
Yeah.
So I guess that is good that explains, like, the mother boxes activating Superman's dead kind of thing, because that was the thing that was going to be a problem. I assume the mother boxes know that.
Sure.
So Steppenwolf is still there, but
Steppenwolf, big change in his character.
Yeah. What did you think? Because now he's basically... I like that he has to get 50... Well, spoilers, he had his objective. He will not be able to complete that any longer. The 50,000 worlds for Darkseid seems like a lot.
Sure.
Like, even if you're an immortal being...
Yeah.
50,000 of anything is a whole lot.
He's got to get to work. He's got the parademons. I do like that Steppenwolf is very cowardly when it comes to Darkseid. He's very much motivated because he doesn't want to piss Darkseid off. I do like that.
Right. So I had to figure this out. So 50,000 worlds, because that's what he still owes, is what I believe it was Desaad said. Do you know if he conquered one world a day, that would almost be 137 years?
Yeah, I think it's weird.
That's every day. No off days of world conquering.
I don't see Darkseid being a type of person that's keeping track of that type of stuff. I just think it's weird that you gave a number. They just said I should have conquered. Darkseid wanted to conquer the universe.
Or one planet with the anti-life equation.
Yeah, it should have been. They shouldn't have gave a number out because this seems weird.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that ties to comics and there's something.
It might be because Darkseid. I like him as a character, but if you go into his backstory, it loses me sometimes because I'm just like, okay, so he fights the old gods or whatever, new god, whatever. He fights the new gods or whatever they are. Okay, the High Father and stuff like that. So I get kind of lost in Darkseid's beginnings. So. Well,
yeah. I mean, and we should point out, because I'm pretty sure Darkseid existed before Thanos. It's just Thanos, in wrestling terms, Thanos got quite the push by Marvel, where Darkseid was just like Braun Strowman around, where you just don't know what's going on with him. You know he's a beast, but it never really seems that way half the time.
That's a good way to that's a good way to describe it there.
I mean, it's like comparing Sting and the Ultimate Warrior, kind of. Like, Ultimate Warrior just got, here you go. This is a staircase. We want you to run up the escalator. That's how quick it's going to go. Whereas Sting took his time.
Now, I did like the scene where Darkseid is fighting Zeus and Ares. That was awesome. I'm thinking, I would just like a movie with Zeus and Ares fighting Darkseid. That would be an awesome movie right here.
Yeah, like that one. Well, is that before he's technically Darkseid? Isn't he like whatever his name was, like Umox or something? Or
yeah, before he was Darkseid. I mean, that's name. But that whole fight was awesome because like Ares and Zeus was like going at it with him. So I mean, so that part I liked.
Yeah, no, that was good. Well, it was nice to see Darkseid doing something.
Yeah.
What do you think? So I was super hung up, not so much on the overall character model for Darkseid, but the face. Like something about the face. Now this is based on comics, the Injustice games, the animated versions.
He seems skinnier, if that's what you mean by it.
Well, that and like usually his face is more flat. Like there's a lot of like it's like he's a burn victim, like Deadpool.
Yeah.
And I'm more used to the portrayal of like kind of smoother rock-like skin almost.
Okay. Yeah.
Like think about like the Apocalypse Wars or whatever.
Yeah.
Apocalypse War.
It did bother me too much. I thought he could have been a little bit more beefier. I guess if I'm nitpicking type thing. I mean,
yeah, like broader,
more imposing of a figure type thing. I guess.
Yeah, I just like face wise.
Steppenwolf was huge.
Yes.
Compared to what Darkseid was, you know.
Yeah, it seemed that way. I mean, you didn't see them. I mean, Apocalypse or not Apocalypse. Darkseid's foot was clearly the size of his head, though. So He's
Sure,
too big.
sure. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so let's see. One of the only things I noticed dialogue-wise, other than the booyah for Cyborg, was when they bring Superman back. In the original version, doesn't he talk to Batman and he's like, "You didn't want me alive and you won't let me stay dead." Basically, like, what's your problem?
Yeah.
Like, they took that out, right? I didn't miss it?
I think they did, yeah.
Okay. Because I thought that was actually a pretty good line, because it was
Sure.
very true and shows
Yeah.
that Batman maybe isn't as smart as he thinks he is sometimes, or made a mistake.
And I know I've discussed this before when we talked about the Justice League, the original version. But I'm going to talk about it again because it bugs me. So, the mother boxes.
Yeah.
Atlantis has a spot for it, a secret spot.
Yeah.
The Amazons, they have a spot for it, guarded. Humans, let's just bury it into a big hole. It bugs me that the humans we'll just put it in a big hole and just leave it. It always bugs me. Like, they make put it in a cave or a temple, or I don't know.
You mean that's not where you hide your stuff? Like, I have all my valuable stuff is buried in my backyard. I don't even know where it's marked. I just dig a hole and fill it in, and then that's it.
It just bugs me. I understand they want to do it in secret. Okay, so you just picked a spot out in the woods somewhere and dug a hole. It always bugs me.
I mean, I'm trying to think. So, if I'm trying to break into somebody, I'm not justifying it because I think it's hilarious that everyone else is like, "Oh, we have these elaborate places to house it and guard it," and you're saying, they're like, "Let's dig over there and just bury it." Done.
Yes.
They're like, "We don't have resources to waste on building stuff."
Yeah. I'm not going to build a temple for this thing. No, I'll just right there, hole right there, bam.
How deep should we bury it? 5 feet. That'll be plenty.
Yes. Yes.
So this thing that can bring about the end of the earth, we're just burying it 5 feet in the middle of a field? Yeah. All right.
I
Sounds
got to go
good.
back to my castle. I ain't got time out here to be taking this hole for. I don't know. It just bugs me.
If you went to someone's house, though, you're deciding to try to find a valuable item to take from them, and you look and you see this fancy room with something propped up under glass or something. That's probably where you're looking. You're not going to be like, you know what? I bet if I dig in their backyard, that's where all the good stuff is.
This is true, I guess. It's we'll do something that Steppenwolf will never expect. We'll dig it in a big hole.
Well, and I mean, it's man, there's a lot of it's like the movie Holes, where they just had the kids digging holes all the time. Well, it's buried somewhere on Earth.
Yeah.
There's a lot of places to look.
Yeah.
So maybe that's actually the better.
I guess.
Because I mean, he'd probably still be looking for it if they hadn't found it and made Cyborg out of it.
Sure.
Because they would have had to or they would have just destroyed the planet straight away and tried to find it. I don't know. But yeah, it is funny. Oh nope, super elaborate temple, magic underwater place, hole.
Well, and why wouldn't you give one of them to the lanterns? If they're helping you out.
Well, I think that lantern got chumped out immediately.
Well, that lantern did, but yeah, that's true. Yeah.
They're well, that was one of the most powerful beings in the universe, and they got totally chumped out. Maybe we'll hold it here.
But at least it was Darkseid that killed him. So I mean, at least he died fighting Darkseid, I guess. So.
Yeah, arguably. I did like that. I wonder if there's a what if. I know what if is more Marvel. DC always did Elseworlds and stuff. But where that ring floated up and Darkseid was about to grab it.
Yeah.
That'd be an interesting story if Darkseid was able to get a hold of the lantern ring. and it allowed
A more interesting story than the one we got. Yes, I will agree with that.
I don't know. Let's see. They removed the one night. I guess they call it the nightmare scenario, where Batman's wearing goggles in the desert, looking for Boba Fett.
Yeah, and everyone talks about that. It's like, just get rid of that. The whole nightmare thing I thought was stupid.
Well, let's jump ahead. Did you watch the post-credit scenes where the Joker's there?
Yeah.
So the one where Batman gets captured and Superman comes to kill him or whatever.
Yeah.
I thought that particular scene, I found that more enjoyable than whatever we got at the end of this thing.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I just didn't care for it. Like, that's not a story that interests me.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just like, okay.
Yeah, let's see what else there was.
Again, why is that Joker? I understand it was a whole dream sequence and everything, but that Joker, he'd be dead. Batman would not have spared his life.
No, well, I mean, and Batman's like, I will effing kill you. So, I don't know. They got Superman in the black suit for the whole thing, which I'm fine with, because if you're going for Reign of the Superman, where he came back, he had to wear the suit for a while, but in that one he came back weakened. This one he came back already charged up.
Sure.
I don't know. We got Flash doing time travel, so I'm sure that messed something up.
Sure.
I don't know what, but something's messed up somewhere.
I don't think the Snyder universe is going to go much further. I just
I saw there was a lot of people talking about trying to get like continue the Snyder universe trending or something.
Oh God.
Yeah, we've said it like a million times. Just let the animated people do their thing. Take all this money that's being spent on the movies and the big stars, spend that on animation.
Sure.
Because I was watching, because I wanted to see the different versions of Darkseid. I was actually watching like the Injustice, the cinematic scenes from the games before we started today. And, like, that's a good story to have in like an animated format. Like, even though it's like in between like fighting game stuff, like I was more interested in that.
There's all kinds of good stories that they have. They just don't want to use for some reason.
Well,
I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't either, because I just don't understand why DC wants to do things the way they do.
I don't understand. I mean, you have good stories about Superman. I mean, making a good Superman movie should not be hard. I mean, the dude can do anything. I mean,
well, it's weird.
I don't get it.
Because, so like you were talking about like Josh Whedon, where he's a little more lighthearted and stuff.
Sure.
Things like that. Honestly, he would probably be a better fit for a Superman movie.
Yes.
Just from a tone. Like, the tone that I envision for Superman is the slightly more lighthearted. I mean, he's obviously capable of being serious, but 90% of the time, Superman doesn't have to be like Batman.
Yeah.
Like, when you're a super overpowered, can't die being, you can be a little bit lighthearted in the face of danger, and it's okay. Yeah. Like, I'm not expecting Superman to turn into like Spider-Man all of a sudden, but just something like, because Flash was closer to what you would expect out of the Flash. Like, why are we making Superman brooding? Doesn't make any sense.
I don't know. I think that's just how Snyder sees it, I guess. I don't know.
Why?
Yeah. Because he did the same thing to Aquaman. He made Aquaman all... It's like, that's not the character that was in the Aquaman movie. He was more, fun. he was adventurous.
Can we blame... I hate to do this because I'm definitely a pro-Batman guy, but basically the success of Christopher Nolan's Batman, like Batman Begins specifically, and then Dark Knight. Both did really good. But that was like the slightly darker, even though it fit Batman perfectly, that was like the darker superhero movie. And then like that did so well where they just like, oh, this is what everybody wants. Not realizing that that's what everybody wants from Batman.
Yes. And you know what? Batman didn't kill in that movie.
Yeah. Like, I mean, he didn't save Ra's al Ghul at the end, but
like you said,
he didn't kill him.
I don't have to save you.
Right, and that's a very Batman kind of thing.
Yeah.
And having just seen that, he thought Ra's al Ghul was dead, and then he was not dead. So it's like, oh, I got to do something. I don't know. Like, maybe that's the whole problem. Maybe that movie was actually successful, and it's all Batman's fault. Or Flash is real, and he traveled back in time at some point, and now we're stuck in this hellscape world where every DC movie is just awful.
Garbage. Like I said, the Aquaman movie I liked. I think some people didn't like it, but I thought it was good for what it was. I mean, it takes a lot for me to care about the character Aquaman, how it used to be.
Yeah.
I think. So, I mean...
I mean...
Jason Momoa there, or Momoa, whatever, however you say his name, a huge upgrade compared to how Aquaman used to be. So, I mean...
Yes. Yeah, but, I mean, he could be kind of like Attitude, like Thor, like Happy Thor. I feel like Aquaman and Happy Thor are similar, like from the Marvel universe. Like comic wise, I didn't read a ton of Thor, so I basically only had the cinematic universe to go on for that. But kind of like that. But yeah, they just Aquaman definitely got nerfed from a personality standpoint.
Yeah.
For this,
and it seemed like Wonder Woman did too. I mean, Wonder Woman was killing terrorists left and right. I thought that was kind of weird.
I liked that.
But she's an Amazon, so that's more forgiving to me because that's her culture, I guess.
Yeah, but all right. So she's been civilized for a while now, living in the
Sure.
island of Man.
Yes.
So I would like to know the thought process of, all right, so you have a bunch of elementary school age children who are pretty much traumatized at this point because they've been taken hostage. They find out that a man plans to blow them up for no real purpose.
Yes.
She's already thrown one man into a wall and broken his spine in front of them.
Yes.
So when it gets to the final guy who has the assault rifle, so he had it on a single shot and she stopped it and he was like, "Oh yeah." So he goes, I believe, probably full auto as opposed to semi-auto on that weapon, and she deflects every single bullet from his magazine. Now, it's already been shown how fast she is. He has to change magazines. So instead of using her gap closing ability and knocking this dude out or killing him, she gives him a moment. She just stops there, allows him to reload, and later in the movie, there's a moment where she's like, "Don't make me do this, Kal-El," because she's about to use her wrist bracer ability on Superman to stop him.
Yes.
So at this moment in front of these children, she decides to atomize an average dude that she could have stopped in any other way.
I thought that was
and take out the side of the building. I'm sure there's a couple cops that got wrecked from falling bricks and stuff.
Yes.
I feel like that was a little overkill for zero reason.
Yeah, for a woman that is, like you said, is super powerful, could go over and just knock the guy out with probably just like a karate chop or something.
Or
she's
just
like,
kill him.
No.
That's fine.
No. I'm going to blow off half the building here and you in the process.
Well,
I was like...
When I saw the scene, I was like, well, that's a little dramatic, but whatever. And then as the movie goes on, though, and the Superman scene, it just stuck out to me that it was like, you were going to use that ability to stop Superman. Like, in your mind, that was enough to stop him. You used that on just a normal dude that you could have done any number of other things in front of children.
So it's like
That might be the most horrible thing that a superhero has done. You think she's paying for those kids' therapy? Because she's not.
So to kind of like go along with so I was playing World of Warcraft again, and I have a Death Knight, and his Covenant ability is you get an extra arm or something.
Yeah.
And it goes around, and that moves, this annihilates things, okay? Like in Shadowlands, it just destroys stuff, okay? So, like, last night I was playing, and I went to the old world, and this wolf, level, like, 35 wolf attacked me, okay? And I accidentally hit that button, and I destroyed this wolf. And it's the same thing. It's like...
It's just gross overkill.
And it was still going. After the wolf was way gone dead, it was still going around because it lasts for like 30 seconds or whatever. And I'm just like, it's just kind of like how it was with Wonder Woman. Way overkill. Didn't need to be done.
Well, I mean, it's super bad when it's like she just blew the guy up. But then I'm just hung up still on that. She thinks that can stop Superman, the most powerful being possibly in the universe.
Yes.
Like, that was her ace up the sleeve that she just, like, busted out for a trash mob. Like,
yes.
That'd be like, so if people don't really play Warcraft or aren't familiar with it, it's the equivalent, like, so you have, like, the raids, and you have, like, group-wide abilities that you can use that have, like, a super long cooldown. So you use it once, it boosts everybody's damage like crazy. It'd be like, you go into a 20-man raid, and there's a yellow critter with 1 hit point, and you you blow time warp on it.
Yes.
And everybody just unloads their strongest ability on a rabbit.
Yes. Yes.
Oh man. I feel like we've topped out with that. Like, there's nothing more we can say about this movie.
It was. I just thought that was just dumb. Yeah.
The
whole movie. I don't know.
I mean, it wasn't. I didn't like it. Obviously,
I'm never going to watch a 4-hour movie again. I'm never going to watch that again.
There's zero chance of me, like, I'll watch Dances with Wolves. That's fine.
Sure.
On the occasion it shows up, but yeah, I'm not. This is not good enough to be 4 hours.
No.
There's a 3-hour version of this that might be pretty good, but I just don't understand it. I wish I could be like the Lord of the Rings people who are like, yeah, extended edition. I get to watch hobbits eat food in the woods for 3 hours more, but there's never going to be
the edition of Lord of the Rings is actually good though.
Well, right, that's what I'm saying is, like, if you're into, like, it blows my mind because I'm looking at Rotten Tomato, where the tomato meter is like a 73, but the audience score for this one is 95%.
Sure.
Are DC fans just so starved for a semi-coherent movie that this is good to them now?
The question, the answer is yes. They're just going to say yes to anything.
Because no,
there's people that argue that the last Wonder Woman movie was good, and I'm like, no, it wasn't good.
Considering the first Wonder Woman was awesome.
Yeah.
The second one was quite the disappointment. Like, my wife was excited for it and was like, "Oh, that kind of sucked." So
sure.
Or
no, my wife
sucked
was
isn't
too,
the
she's not.
Sucked isn't the right word. It just wasn't good.
Yeah. I mean, my wife was into. It was like, oh, I can't wait to see this movie, and she's like, oh, that was terrible. I was like, yeah.
Like, I wish that wasn't what I had waited for.
The best DC movie is Aquaman, in my opinion. It's fun. It does what it. Yeah, I think it's the best movie.
Somehow,
the Superman movies are garbage. I can't stand them.
Right.
Because that's not the Superman that I like.
Yeah.
If you like a brooding Superman, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Like, what are you doing? There's better choices. There's better
Yes.
brooding superhero choices.
Yes. If I want a brooding character that kills things, I'm gonna watch The Punisher on Netflix
Yeah.
because
Or
that's
Daredevil.
pretty much what you want.
Daredevil
Or Daredevil.
season 1.
Yes.
Jeez.
Yeah.
I mean, Arrow season 1. I don't know. I do feel kind of let down. Like Ben Affleck does a pretty good job as Batman. Like I've stuck by that for quite a while. Just not the right movie. I would like to know, because I guess they were going to do a Deathstroke Batman movie. I would like to see that with Ben Affleck.
Yeah.
Because it'd be pretty good. Like, because in the comics, the first time Deathstroke shows up, he wipes the floor with Batman, but then you get to, well, Batman now knows you exist, so now he gets time to prepare. So it becomes a much more even fight. I think they could do a pretty good movie with those two, because Deathstroke is a pretty sweet character most of the time.
Yeah, I don't know what Snyder would do with it, but yes.
I mean, he kind of fits in with Snyder's vision, I would say. Like, Deathstroke seems like the kind of character that he could he wouldn't really have, watch, he turns like Deathstroke into like a happy-go-lucky character. Like, what are you doing?
Changing it up.
Oh man. All right. So
Have you before we get off the
Yeah.
DC talking here, did you see the new Suicide Squad
trailer? No, I have not watched it yet because
We should stop recording and let you watch it, because I'm curious what you think about it, because it's like 3 minutes or whatever.
all right, hold on, let me pull this up.
So go ahead, stop it.
All right, we are back. I've just watched the trailer. I laughed quite a lot during the trailer. Cena, his character,
The Peacemaker there.
yeah, like it was pretty funny. So
Yeah.
I mean, he's like a good actor, like as far as his commitment to whatever his role is.
Yeah.
Like much like in like he's committed to it, whether it's good, bad, or in between. He's gonna give it his all. Like he's not gonna like half it in any way. So I think there's a good chance that this will be pretty funny. I'll probably watch it. Because the first one, I was super anti the first one, and then I watched it, and it wasn't that bad.
Yeah. Well, Will Smith is what made that movie.
Yeah, I think this one. I mean, you got Idris Elba.
Yeah.
Like his character in Cena from the trailers, it seems like they're going to be a perfect match. You got King Shark is a shark, so that's fantastic. The one scene, I'm assuming that was Crazy Quilt sitting there, which is one of the worst characters ever, but is one of my favorite.
Yes.
I had a friend through high school. Like I tried to explain to him that the Crazy Quilt character, and he was like, "That is absolutely made up. There's no way there is such a thing." And like since those days, like Crazy Quilt has made it into a variety of cartoons, and now being in Suicide Squad is probably my favorite thing.
Maybe Ross, we will get Section 8.
If we get the dog welder, honestly, if we get a mention of the dog welder,
Yes.
I will be beyond ecstatic.
Yes.
And as long as it's pointed out that the dog welder exists within Gotham City's area, and Batman allows that man to do his thing.
Yes.
Much like Wonder Woman, there's some problems.
Yes.
Yeah, but no, I mean, I laughed. It might be really good.
Yeah.
I mean, or like you said, it could be a big enough of a train wreck, but if it's still an entertaining train wreck, that's fine.
I still say to this day, I am sad that the Nicolas Cage Superman never happened, because I think that would have been a glorious train wreck.
Polar bear villains.
Yes.
That's what matters. All right. You want to move on? Let's see. We've been going a little bit, but we got a few minutes here. You want to hit some AEW stuff real quick?
Sure.
All right. Let's see here. We'll do.
Why did Britt take her shoe off to eat that sandwich?
Well, the reason Britt took the shoe off to eat her sandwich was because she was going to beat Thunder Rosa with it. Yes. And then, so going back a week, I just feel like it's necessary to mention the women's lights out match was one of the most violent, entertaining matches I've seen. Like, whether women wrestling or men wrestling. The fact that they built up maybe a little bit longer, it seems like they could have probably pulled the trigger a week or two earlier, almost. But like the hatred between Britt and Thunder Rosa at least made sense to me, where it was like, yeah, I want to hurt this person, so they kept escalating like the things that they were pulling out from the ring and all that stuff. So I thought it was pretty good. Yeah,
I mean, I don't know. Britt Baker, I like Thunder Rosa better.
Yeah.
Britt Baker's character, I think she's still trying to find it or something. I don't know. But
well, I
mean,
at
least
for this week, like her promo she did was pretty good. Yeah. Like she's pretty much right there. I think
compare some of the other promos that happened this week. Yes, hers was the best. Yes, I will agree with that.
I think it's at the point where she kind of knows what she wants to do, but she might actually just need a crowd now to react to her to finalize it.
And that's what I was getting ready to say. I think her character's being hurt by no crowds, or a lot. You know what I'm saying? Like how crowds used to be.
Right. Well, it's so weird because there's characters that, or wrestlers, like just the people in general, that probably no crowd has potentially been good for them since they've been advancing like a character on TV still. Yeah. Like they're still, and like AEW is fortunate where they have like some crowd, so you can get a little bit of a reaction to play off of, but it's not the same as like like a mostly sold out stadium or something, or arena. Yeah. But I'm sure there's people who like WWE, I think, is probably better off, because I think Bayley had an interview where like she had turned bad guy, but then she didn't have to deal with a crowd doing what crowds do. Like, she just got time to figure out the character herself and establish it. So there's been a few things where, like, people have turned alignment or whatever that might not have worked out the same way. So they've had a time to be like, hey, there's a story. Well, we're not going to get dumped on all over by the crowd. We can actually play this thing out. So it'll be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I think, like, but also, like, we'll just go back, like, Stone Cold. If Stone Cold happened nowadays, I don't think he would be as popular of a character.
Probably not.
Yeah. But anyway.
I don't know what the equivalent to that would be.
Yeah.
But
this to go along with you, I think some wrestlers do well with no crowd. Some wrestlers do better with crowds.
Right. Well, I think, like, I think once the crowds are back, though, it'll be better for everybody. But I think it was for some people, it was probably a blessing in disguise to more solidify what they think works, so now they can make an adjustment on the fly a lot easier than being like, oh, I don't even know what I want to try to do. All right, so for this week, the Dynamite,
and we found out that QT Marshall does better with nothing. Just keep him in the back and have him just organize stuff.
That whole whatever him and Cody were doing, I did not really care for.
No.
Like, obviously something's going to be up with it.
QT as a character, I'm sorry. I mean, the guy can wrestle, sure, but he is so boring to me.
The thing is, I like him. So from Sammy's vlog in Dark, where he had like the story going with El Fuego there, with the tornado DDT and stuff, like that was interesting. Like, I wanted to see that match. However, that had like short segments that were built well, and this whole thing is just kind of like I just don't know. It's like the reverse of what I expect, where there's like subtle build to something. This just feels like it was like, we don't know how to get where we're going, so we're just.
It almost feels like, hey, Tony, I got this idea. Can I do it? Sure, man. We're buddies. We can do it. I know. That's what it feels like to me.
I mean, I could see where
the friend rub.
It's hey, you're gonna have a match with Cody, and we're gonna build a little bit something. You could probably make that sound real good, but the execution just not so good.
Yeah, I guess.
And like Cody being like, well, if I can hook you for this, I'm not going to do it. I'm not trying to hurt. Like, it was just super weird. Everything about it.
More and more that I see anything with Cody, I think he's a heel.
Yeah. Like,
he is not a good guy. He's a bad guy.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Like, it certainly feels that way. He's a bad guy that doesn't cheat a ton, like just little bits here and there. But otherwise, yeah, he's a heel. Speaking of which,
go ahead.
Oh no, you're fine.
No,
I was just
saying in a lot of
say
ways,
Kenny Omega.
I think he's. Oh yeah. Go ahead.
Kenny Omega has become. I'm super entertained by him.
Yes.
But man, what a jerk! Like, he does the cheesy. It's like the cheesy, overpowered villain.
Yes.
Because he still is like super awesome in the ring, so he's gonna beat just about everybody. But like when he came out like snapping his fingers, like he's clearly just like, what would really irritate me if I was a fan watching wrestling? This. And then he does it.
I'm trying to think who he kind of goes with. Like what type of bad guy? Maybe Lobo.
Yeah, I could see that.
It's just very. He's cocky and he can actually wrestle. I mean, he's actually a threat.
Yeah, like he's kind of like he picks his spots more, but it's not like he's a coward in the ring.
Yeah, he's not a Seth Rollins cowardly bad guy.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, there's someone to compare, like, and it might be like a Final Fantasy character might be what he kind of has like envisioned, because I know he's into that kind of stuff.
Well, there's a 100% guarantee that's what.
Or there's some influence there, but either way, like, it's an enjoyable character. But I do I am wanting to see him get beat, which is probably going to be a while. He beats up Matt Sydal. Pretty decent match, but I mean, like, Sydal's not going to win, so.
I think he's going to get the championship for Impact.
I have to assume that's where that's going to go.
And I think he's going, because him and the NWA world champion is going back and forth with each other on Twitter.
Are they? I haven't caught that.
Yeah, so I think that they're going to do something there, which I think would be an awesome match.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Kenny can have a good match with just about anybody. I mean, he's like super talented. So. What's that?
Don't let Jim Cornette hear you say that.
Yeah. Start screaming at me. Let's see here. We got the Adam Page beat up Cesar Bonani. I mean, basically, like, they were they kind of put it out there that he's probably trying for the world title. Like, Excalibur made just like a little quip about it, and talked about him like packing up wins. So I'm still assuming that Page is going to be the guy at some point.
I'm confused with Brian Cage and the Taz group.
Yeah.
Are they trying to split those guys up? I don't understand.
This is my assumption, and I mean, other people came to the exact same conclusion that I did. Is like, Cage is probably going to split away from them, but still have the FTW title. So then you're going to have him feud with Team Taz, maybe, for them to get the FTW title back.
Okay. Yeah.
But I think right now there's like, because I don't know if it was Dark or on this or wherever it was, somewhere they did the promo where they're like, oh, everything's fine, but it's clearly not fine.
Yeah.
It's kind of like when you've decided to quit your job, but you're still showing up for a little while because you don't have anything else lined up. But it's pretty much over, but you try to pretend that you're still a team player kind of thing. Seems
Sure.
like one of those deals.
Yeah, I can see that.
Because it was definitely a strange. I mean, I've seen like that particular thing plays out in wrestling all the time, so they're just giving it a little extra, another week or two before they pull the trigger, I'm guessing.
Now, when do you think the Inner Circle should come back?
My thought,
It should be a couple months, right? Are we both in agreement?
I would say at
agreement with that?
least a month.
Yeah.
I would almost say, trying to think of how I would, if I was going to fantasy book it, maybe have FTR get the tag belts on a Dynamite,
Yep.
and they go to the back. So they went out of their way to point out that Pinnacle has taken over the Inner Circle's old locker room.
Yeah.
My assumption would be maybe have a big win or somebody gets a belt or something, but they go back to celebrate, and like the sign's all busted and the dressing room's all messed up, and then they get jumped from behind by the Inner Circle. Like,
Okay.
that's how I would do maybe the bring back.
Yeah.
Only because like they've pointed out that locker room so many times
Yeah.
that it's kind of weird. But yeah, I would think you would want to give it at least another week or two. But I would wait, like you're saying, like 2 months.
2 or 3 months. Make the Pinnacle a threat.
Yeah. Well, it either needs to be they're super established as dominant, or they've just had like a super big win that kind of does the same thing. But I don't know right now. It's not like there's a super face group that they can fight. That's a big deal.
That's the issue with AEW. That they don't have any heels. I mean, not heels. They have plenty of heels. They have no faces to.
Well, like they're
other
big
than Sting and
face.
Darby.
Yeah, I mean you got Sting, Darby, Hangman, and kind of Dark Order, but Dark Order needs built up just a little bit more because they're kind of like that mid card at the moment.
Sure.
Like, or I mean, they're upper mid card for sure. I would say, especially with like Uno, Silver, Grayson, and Reynolds. Like those are good, but like the other guys are kind of whatever. And Silver's out for a little bit.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's not like them beating Jurassic Express is nothing. Them beating the Gun Club is nothing. I mean, it's gonna have to be them beating like the Bucks, or they beat like the Bucks and Darby in like a triples match or something. Then maybe that could be it. But yeah, they're gonna have to run roughshod on something. Maybe MJF takes the title off Darby, and that's when you do it. I don't know.
Yeah, I can see that because I can't see him taking it off of Kenny right now.
Yeah,
Kenny's character is too big.
well, and Kenny needs. I'm still convinced that like it'll either be Hangman, Darby, or somebody else is going to blow up in the meantime. But I would assume one of those guys. But I could definitely see have MJF take the title off Darby, and then Sammy is the one to take the title off MJF to get his revenge. But that frees him up to take the title off like Hangman, like the world title, something like that. I could see doing it kind of like an order like that somehow. But yeah, they got to get like either like the TNT title and maybe the tag belts would be good.
Yeah.
I don't
Something.
know. Because the Bucks, I mean, they're excellent as champions, but they don't really need the belts. But
No.
maybe that's the point, is your top team holds the title for a while, so it actually seems like it matters. My thinking of the title is still kind of skewed from WWE, where it doesn't really mean much.
Yes.
Like, it's a weird world.
Yes.
Let's see what else, if there was anything else really good. I mean, Pinnacle had their match, but like, I don't think anyone on Earth thought Varsity Blondes and Dante Martin were going to be knocking off the Pinnacle on week 1 after being formed.
For a minute there, I'm like, maybe this is like WWE, and they will burn them right off the bat.
I mean, it could be they created that League of Nations and let Roman Reigns beat them 1-on-1 on their first night.
Yes.
Goodness. Well, we did have the Bucks and Brandon Cutler Brandon Cutler is not the missing piece to make them go against the Pinnacle. I like Brandon Cutler. I think he's good in the ring, but he is nothing.
He's good as an opening match.
Yeah, like undercard guy.
Yes.
We got, I guess, Pac got hurt, so we got Laredo Kid. There was a part of me that since Andrade got released with no compete clause or whatever, I almost hoped he'd show up.
Really? I didn't think I thought he would have a 90-day compete clause.
For whatever reason, he doesn't have one. They just outright released him, is the last I heard. I don't know if that's true, but I read that a few different places. He was a guy, it took me a while to like him in NXT, but then eventually, like, they kind of reworked his character, or they reworked the character. And then, like, it became where I kind of liked him. And then he got called up to the main roster, and it was real sad.
Well, the fact that I guess he couldn't, I guess he can't speak fluent English. I guess.
Yeah, it's not.
WWE is not going to use you. It's just how it is. I mean,
right.
they want people to be able to.
Yeah, like good English.
I guess.
Well, I mean that's what works for them. Is they want guys that they can send to media and all that stuff, and
yeah, I get it. I guess. I don't.
Right. Well, it still seems like you could, like, I don't know. We'll find out how AEW handles that kind of stuff. But
I mean, it's not like Andre the Giant was all that great at promos.
Right.
I mean,
yeah, I think the thing is though, they're like, well, yeah, he's great in the ring, but he can't really talk. Well, we can find a dozen guys who are great in the ring. It's harder to find a guy who can talk.
Yeah, I guess.
But I don't know. It'll be curious because, like, if he were to go to AEW or NWA or New Japan or whatever, like, New Japan, you pretty much don't have to talk to still be a big deal.
It's true.
AEW, I mean, they gave Pentagon freaking what's it called? QVC Alex there is his translator, but like honestly, that works for me. Like I think it's funny.
I'm glad you brought that up. So I'm impartial to that because is he going to be like the heel translator? I mean,
I hope
I think
so.
It works. I think it works.
It's hilarious to me because, well, I think it was. I've watched like Elevation and Regular Dark, like bits and pieces of it. So I've seen all kinds of stuff, but I think it was on Dark. They had replayed it, but I think Taz was like, for a translator, he's pretty angry. What's his deal?
Yes.
Like somewhere, someone might have it wrong on who said it.
I think Jim Ross said it.
That might be it.
Maybe they repeat it because they're like, why is he so angry?
Yeah, but like it made me laugh, and it doesn't hurt anything. I don't think. I mean, honestly, I think it adds an extra kind of like interesting dimension. And if he does it for Phoenix too, even better.
Well, I guess a lot of people are complaining because he's like, Pentagon says, and then he'll say something, and then he's like, Pentagon says, and everyone's like, why you have to keep saying Pentagon says? I'm like, well, no, that it goes along with the heel personality.
Well, and that's kind of how translators do it. When I was working at the insurance place, if I had had to get a translator for someone who didn't speak English, they would basically be like, oh, the client or the like whatever they were calling them, like, oh, the client says this, and that's for basically record, so that there's no doubt that is, the translator is saying that this person is saying it, so there's no way to construe it that is the translator's own interpretation.
Sure.
Because because I would have like some translators, I'd be like, I'm not sure, and they'd be like, translator's interpretation of conversation, and then it would be something to be like, I believe they're trying to say this, but they don't really understand exactly, but this is how I feel they are trying, this is the message I think they want to get across.
Gotcha.
And they would specify. Now, obviously, he's not a proper translator. I don't think he's been to school or certified, but like to me, like that didn't even strike me as a thing.
To me, I mean, I think it just adds to the character.
Yeah.
It's like,
I mean,
it's more. heelish, I guess.
Well, I would love it. Only do it maybe once or twice, just because it would be funny. But if like Pentagon and Phoenix were both like just on a tirade, and he was translating it, and then like when Pac's back, he says something, and then he translates Pac's to Spanish.
Yes.
Like, I think that would be fantastic.
Yeah.
Or if he just repeats what Pac said, and they just stare at him. Like, I mean, you could have a little bit of fun with it. So,
Yes.
let's see. Moxley and Kingston do pretty good promos together. It's a different vibe than the normal Moxley or Kingston promo, but I mean, it's still good.
I was shocked that Kingston compared Kenny's thing to Bullet Club, unless the actual Bullet Club is fighting with Moxley in New Japan. I don't know. Are they?
I mean, Kenta is part of it. I have no idea though. Like,
Gotcha. Okay.
all that
Regardless,
stuff is
I'm
so
surprised
weird.
that I was surprised Kingston said the Bullet Club like that.
Yeah, I think I mean, there's obviously some kind of like, there's not going to be a problem with them mentioning them at this point. Let's see here. So we got Tay and Nyla. Basically, they just kind of beat up each other.
Can we talk about that DDT she did?
The Hammerlock DDT.
Yes.
That thing was nasty.
I'm like, wow.
Well, because when she hit, like, so I like, because Andrade, oddly enough, he does like that Hammerlock DDT, but he kind of hooks the leg with his leg, like almost like a Russian leg sweep when he does it. I like her version where she just grabs the Hammerlock into it, and it's still just kind of like a normal DDT, but you got the arm.
I don't know if it's because Nyla's body's so big. It just sounded so much like that sounded like it just devastated.
I think it was also the way Nyla kind of threw herself into the DDT as well.
Yeah.
Because like when she started to go, like she went crazy with it. Like she made that DDT look more devastating than a Jake Roberts DDT.
Yes.
Which I mean is a benefit to Nyla too, because like after I saw that, there's no like, oh, I can't believe she didn't kick out of that. It was like, oh, she might be dead for real.
Yeah.
That might be involuntary manslaughter.
Maybe Ty is getting lessons from Jake in the back.
Something. I mean, she's gotten a lot better.
Well, her kicks, too, well, I mean, it helps that she's an actual kickboxer.
Yeah.
But,
yeah,
her
she has
kicks,
like legit
man,
training.
Yeah, I mean, her kicks look like they would hurt.
I'm pretty sure that if I had to fight her, that she would kick my butt. Like, I don't think it would go well for me.
I'm pretty sure any of the wrestlers in AEW would kick my butt if I got into a fight with them, to be honest with you.
Yes. Well, like, all the women are super tough, it feels like to me. Like, Britt Baker doesn't seem like she has, like, fight training, but after seeing the one match, like, I wouldn't be able to hurt her. And she's obviously going to be in better shape than me, so I'm screwed.
Well, yeah, I mean, and that's how I saw the guy work that. I was like, at the end of the day, any professional athlete is going to destroy you because they're an athlete. You are not. You're a Joe Schmo worker.
Well,
I mean,
they have like
it.
some degree of training.
Yes.
And the thing is, like, and I don't think people give wrestlers credit enough. Like, if you get into a fight with someone who's a wrestler that's like into it, the stuff, like the injuries that they just work through, because that's what you do. Like, a normal fight with that kind of adrenaline running, you're not going to stop them unless you legitimately knock them out, most likely. Like, if for some reason you're in, like, a life or death fight with them, pro wrestler would be one of the last people I would pick. Do you want to, like, John Silver? He separated his shoulder and finished the match.
Yes.
I'm not going to mess with a lunatic like that.
I remember at one of our old jobs that we worked together, this guy came up to me and it's like, Saul, Ronda Rousey would destroy you in a fight. And I guess he was waiting for me to say, no, I destroy her. I'm like, oh yeah, because she's a trained athlete. Why would she? And he's like, Well, no, I mean, she would really hurt you. I was like, yeah, I would never get in a fight with Ronda Rousey. I'm like, I know that. I mean, she's trained. So it's just funny how some men look at like that, like, oh no, that woman would destroy you. I know she would.
Yeah, be like, that's fine. Be like, yes, in general, a man fighting a woman, like brute strength, basically compared to a woman, is gonna like carry you to an awful far level of stuff. However, when you start into like trained martial arts, that gap closes a lot quicker than you think it would.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't know.
If there was there could be like Alexa Bliss, if she was like a Golden Gloves level boxer, even though she's very small, she would obliterate me if she had that kind of training.
Sure. I think Alexa Bliss would destroy you. Period.
I mean,
they're athletes.
I'd stay real far away from her. And hope that I'd start singing Disney songs. That'd be my strategy. I would sing Disney songs, and then I would run away.
Yes, I think she would destroy you though, even running away, because I think her cardio is going to be a lot better than yours.
I would not want to try to outrun an that would suck.
Yeah,
like the dangerous game, but it's like tag.
Yeah.
But it's like against any kind of a pro athlete.
Yes.
There was a guy, argue isn't the right word, but like a guy like Otis, for example, in WWE. He's like a big, heavy dude, but you don't see him get blown up during his matches. Yeah. I don't think people realize you can still be like big or even fat, but your cardio can actually be really good.
Well, I remember I had a gym teacher that played for he played for the Detroit Lions, and he was a big dude. He was I think he was a defensive lineman or something. And people were like, "Oh, Mr. Mitchell, you're too fat. You ain't gonna be able to do it. I would destroy you." And because they were talking about running a mile.
Yeah.
And the guy's like, "Oh, you couldn't destroy me." He's like, "I'll tell you what." He's like, "I'll do the mile." And he's like, "If I beat you, you have to do something." And the kids are stupid. Oh yeah, we would destroy you. He destroyed them. Yeah. He's like, just because I'm big doesn't mean my cardio is not good. So
yeah, I think a lot of people. Well, I mean, the average person, if you see them and they're not in, like they don't appear in good shape physically, you're just gonna assume they can't run, and then you don't realize there's like a degree of training that doesn't even matter.
Sure.
Let's see. So you're going to be excited next week for Arcade Anarchy. You're probably going to get to see Chuck Taylor thrown through an arcade machine at least once.
Yeah. I liked how someone on Twitter said they think that Miro's storytelling is all right now. And then Miro commented on it. He's like, these clowns are a waste of my time. He's like, I want to go for the championship. Yeah. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Well, and I think he even said in the one video package previously, he was doing like the pull-ups. You're like, "No, I'm done with this." But Kip was like, "I can't let it go yet. They ruined my wedding." Sure. So Miro is going to hurt Kip.
Here pretty soon. Yes.
Yeah, and start his own thing. But they've rehabilitated him into a psychopath, is what it feels like. So that'll be good. Let's see here. So we talked about this a second ago. Silver and Darby. I thought like after the barricade spot, because that's where he got the shoulder, I was like, oh, this match slowed down, and I wasn't sure why. It was still good, but it was like a little bit slower. And then finding out that he's out like a month and a half or so probably with like separated shoulder or whatever it was. It actually makes the match a lot better than I thought it was.
Sure. That you're able to finish it with a separated shoulder, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, overall it was pretty good. I kind of thought that Silver might win just to get the belt off Darby. But I was pretty sure Darby was keeping it. But I mean, it still had that element of it would make sense to move the title over.
On Instagram, it was everyone was complaining that Sting really didn't do much. I'm like, what do you want Sting to do?
Well, he's not going to cheat. He was out there to even it up.
Yeah. I'm like, I don't know. Some people, like, Sting needs to do more. What do you want him to do? He's
Well, if he
old
does
for one thing.
Yeah, like if he does more, you're gonna be like, oh, he's burying the Dark Order.
Yeah.
So I think what he did was fine because, like, the Dark Order, although not dastardly, was definitely involved. I mean, they pulled him out of the way of the suicide dive, and ate that. So they definitely got involved. So
They
Sting
did,
coming
yeah, but
out
wasn't
to
he-
back them up, that's all he needed to do.
It's just people in general.
Well, yeah. Well, I think they just want... It is bizarre to me, the amount of people that want AEW to outright fail. I just don't understand it.
I don't get it either.
Because now I will say I'm guilty of. There are times now since AEW has existed, I kind of don't care as much. But there was a period there where I wanted WWE to not like fail and close or anything like that, but I wanted them to suffer some kind of like a setback or something that made them reevaluate what they were doing.
Sure.
And hopefully some of the, I think there's things like in general, like WWE's fine. If you like the WWE product, that's all right. But I think there's definitely like some storytelling elements here and there that even people who are pro WWE very heavily would probably admit, be like, yeah, this could be a better story. Or you could do this a little bit better here and there. Like there's things that could be improved. Or hey, when the crowd is super behind somebody, maybe go with them for a little bit. See what happens.
Well, I mean, it's like you and me. We don't like the Snyder universe.
Yeah.
But I don't think you and me are like going on message boards like, yeah, I hope it dies. I hope it, it's like,
Yeah.
whatever. I don't like it. I don't watch it. I mean, just go on with your life.
Yeah, I mean, if I didn't know you or we weren't doing like a podcast, that's the kind of thing we talk about. I mean, if somebody asked me if I saw it, I'd be like, yeah, I saw it. It's not for me. Like, I don't like that version of the superheroes.
You're not going to go on Twitter and like harass the actors and Snyder and
No. I would probably make like like one comment or something, and be like, oh man, I did not care for this. Or like my my overtime joke or whatever, where it's like, yep, this is the same but longer. It still sucks. Like, that'd be the end of it. I wouldn't be like, Zack Snyder, I hope that a real life Batwing crashes into your house.
Yes.
And crushes your legs.
I don't understand that mentality. It's just, I guess this is people that are just really angry at life. I guess I don't know. I don't get it.
Well, again, the most vocal people for any group are literally the worst.
This is true.
There is, I have yet to find an example that is the exception to that rule. Because they're always the most like radicalized extreme, to where it's like, even if it was like a person who's into giving to charity, like the most vocal person is be like, well, you should do without and let your family starve so that other people can eat. Like, that might be a little too far. Like, there's a certain point that maybe you shouldn't make yourself worse off. Like, it's okay.
You're at a 10. I'm gonna need you to go down to 4.
What was that for? Like, that was like the disguised toast thing where he was like gonna have a match with somebody and they're like, we need to kill him, and he's like, you guys need to dial it back.
Yes. So. All right, I think we're done.
Yep, we'll call it there. Let's see. We'll hit the outro button here. We'll be back next week. Maybe Friday,
Subscribe.
maybe Saturday.
Add us to your Twitters, your Instagrams, your book faces.
We're at the AOP Podcast on Twitter. You got agonyofpositivity.com. You could look through our Twitter and probably find my own personal Twitter that literally I never do anything with. But you can follow that too. I don't know why.
You'll never see it.
I am going on many years now, and I've liked a couple things, but I've never tweeted. I've never retweeted. I only follow because I've never had anything that I felt was important to say. Sure. I save that for Reddit, where it just doesn't matter. and it's usually on the wrestling stuff. So,
Yes.
all right, I'm going to hit the button. Here we go. Goodbye, everybody. Till next time.